Land developments nearby include Tidewater and Bradley Pond. Tidewater is in the rural residential land use, allows for 398 dwelling units, approximately 3/4 of a mile to the west. And Bradley Pond is in the low density residential, allowing for 139 dwelling units, 1.5 miles to the west. This amendment was routed to state parks with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and they are a state review agency and noted that they would prepare their review and comments if transmitted to the state review agencies after the public hearings. The amendment site does include 14 acres of wetlands, and we would encourage that development be clustered away from those wetlands and would be reviewed upon submittal of the companion PUD rezoning if we get to that point. The department's reviewed the proposed amendment, and we do find that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan based on the reasons identified in the report, as well as the following. The proposed rural residential land use is a rural land use category and is consistent with the low density intent of the rural development area. With that, the department forwards to you a recommendation of approval. And we'll say on Planning Commission on February 20th, 2020, the commission voted in a vote of 6-1 to approve the proposed amendment. Now, at that Planning Commission meeting, there were about a dozen speakers in opposition. They expressed concerns about wildlife, wetlands, flooding, drainage, stormwater runoff and pollution, about archaeological resources, impacts to abutting preservation lands, school and road capacity, and conflicts with controlled burns of the park space surrounding it. They also felt that it was a high-density residential project, that there would be issues with police coverage, and were concerned about the one-way in, one-way out road, that Cedar Point has no outlet to the east. Now, the commission, again, voted 6-1 to approve the amendment. This land use amendment also went to the Waterways Commission on February 12th. The Waterways Commission voted in a recommendation of 9-1 to deny the proposed amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. And we've got Mr. Ingram here to speak on behalf of the applicant. And do you have these in the PowerPoint, or are we going to be able to show these to the people watching?
Yes, Tom Ingram, and yes, Mr. Chair, these will be part of the PowerPoint that the audience will be able to see.
We'll give you 5 minutes. Is that enough?
Yes, thank you.
Speed limit's 35.
Steve, could you give him 5 minutes for me, please?
That's what will be happening next to my bedroom.
Good evening. I'm Tom Ingram, an attorney with the firm of Sodal and Ingram at 233 East Bay Street, Jacksonville, Florida. And with me is Jim Hissam at BHK Capital LLC. I'm here on behalf of Jeff and Kathy Andring, the owner of approximately 50 acres off Cedar Point Road. And if we could go to the slides, please. So this property is off of Cedar Point Road, approximately 4,000 feet east of the Tidewater subdivision, which, as Ms. Reed said, has approximately 398 dwelling units. The site is also has a part of it, roughly a third of its boundary, abuts Pumpkin Hill State Park. There's 2 other private properties that abut this. One is owned by a family member.
In between, now I'll have this on.
If we could go to the next slide.
On 2 sides, in between me and my neighbor.
So this map shows a general location. You can see, North Jacksonville in general, and as you go east, you go into more rural areas. In addition to this site, obviously there's an approximately 46,000 square foot, 46,000 acre Timaquan Preserve. You have numerous city parks. Pumpkin Hill State Park is approximately 4,000 acres. In total, Jacksonville has over 80,000 acres of parks. I don't believe that includes some of your state forests as well as conservation areas. Adjacent to Pumpkin Hill State Park and also the many other parks in the area are literally hundreds of abutting private properties, of which this is one. Next slide, please. If we can go to the next one. So this is a future land use map showing the property there is outlined. Immediately to the west is part of Pumpkin Hill State Park. And as you go further west, you go into rural residential land use, as well as the Boney Road area. And as you approach Grover Road, which is also a developed rural residential area, and then ultimately to Yellow Bluff Road and Alta Road, which contain a mix of ranchettes and subdivisions. Next slide. So the current land